We are just one day away from the big day here in Detroit, and we're all wondering the same thing. What is Brad Holmes thinking? What is he cooking up today? We're going to go through what strategy Brad Holmes should take in this year's draft. It's going to include what I think Brad will do and also what I think Brad should do. It's also going to include some different players for different scenarios in the draft, and then as well as some highlights as well to go along with that. So we'll start with round number one. Some guys that I really like are Chop Robinson and Darius Robinson. If they were at 29, if they fell there, I'd love to get them. Otherwise, it's Kool-Aid, McKinstry all day. Now, do I think he's going to be there at 29? Honestly, I don't think he will. I think people really overlook him. I do think he's a bit underrated, which is crazy because he was a 3-year starter at Bama. You can't go wrong with that. All right. We saw Brian Branch fall. Look what that did to all those other teams that passed on. They missed out on what could be one of the best, safety slash corner, hybrid guys in the league. Khalid McKinstry to me is the best overall corner when it comes to, being lockdown, deep ball coverage guy, good tackler. I think he's got all the necessary skills. Maybe he doesn't have the speed like Wiggins and Mitchell, but man, he has everything that he needs, and he's still very fast. He ran a 4.47 on a broken foot. That's pretty good. Khalid McKinstry is, I think, who Brad is looking at, and I think he might trade up to try and get him. I would 100% be fine because if Brad Holmes likes a guy, he's going to trade up and get him. Laiatulatu is another guy in the first round who I would love to get, and I also think Brad Holmes is going to be looking at. Another guy who you're probably, I think, going to have to trade up for. I think you trade up into the late teens, you can get this guy. Early 20s, you can probably get Kool-Aid. But to me, Laiatulatu is an edge rusher 1 on most teams in the NFL, maybe like 50%. Maybe not his rookie year, but I think by year 2 or 3 for sure. I think he's a top 3 edge rusher in this draft with potential of being number 1. So if we couldn't get Kool-Aid, or maybe we want an edge rusher instead that could go alongside Hutch McDominant, Laiatulatu is a guy who I'm 100% okay with getting there. Now looking at round number 2. So if we do go after Kool-Aid, Chris Braswell's a guy who I'd love to get second round if we don't trade any picks. Another guy is Jonah Ellis, son of Luther Ellis. I think he's pretty good. I think he'd be a dog on this team. Then Braylon Trice is a guy who I could see developing into a great edge rusher number 2. Now, I think Brad Holmes is thinking, I want as many picks as I can get. He's going to trade up into the second round and keep his other second round pick if he were to do so. Kamari Lassiter, if he's there, take him if you don't get Kool-Aid first round. Otherwise, Xavier Legette is a guy who I would love to see in a Detroit Lions uniform. I think that this guy, he's 6'1". He plays like he's 6'3", 6'4" because of his athleticism. He's huge in size, huge upper body, huge arms, and great, huge legs as well, by the way. Insane speed. He's really just an overall, great wide receiver. He's so underrated, I feel like. Now people are, starting to see him and be like, yeah, he's going to be good. I see him being like an A.J. Brown in the NFL. I see him being a beast wherever he goes, and he could be a wide receiver 3 for us easily. I think, maybe year 1 he develops for a year. You let DPJ do his thing. Maybe you re-sign DPJ even if you want after this year, because I like DPJ a lot. But I think that this is a guy who you can get mid-second round, maybe pick 45 to 50. I think he could fall there. I think a lot of teams are starting to see that he is very good, but we'll see. Another guy, Keon Coleman. I'm pretty split on these two. I'm 50-50 split on who I'd take. Keon Coleman is definitely, I think I've seen him projected third round before, and I'm like, whoa. I think that if he slips past the Buffalo Bills, if the Bills somehow don't take him, I think he will last mid-second round, to be honest with you. I think he's one of those guys that could fall. He's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. If I'm Brad Holmes, I'm looking at taking Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then I'm looking at trading up into the second round, keeping your other second round pick, and then getting a luxury pick. I think that's what he would do. I think he would go after a luxury guy like this that can upgrade our offense and get your wide receiver for the future to go alongside our boys, Amon-Ra and JMO, and take this offense where it needs to be, because we need a jump ball guy. We really do. So that's what I would do. Now, late round 2 and then some early round 3 picks, Mikey Sainristil would be a dream fit if we didn't get Kool-Aid. My goodness, he is a dog. Love to get him. He's still getting better. Javon Bullard, another absolute dog. Love to get him. Brendan Rice, you could probably get him even later than third round, maybe. I'm not for sure, though. And then, obviously, Zach Frazier. A lot of you have said that he could go late first. I don't see that. I see him going either early to mid-second. But this year's draft has so much depth at the O-line spot that I think that a guy like Zach Frazier has a very high chance of falling in the draft. You've seen this, there's been plenty of times. Even Brian Branch, no one thought he'd escape past pick 18. And there he is fallen to what, 45, whatever it was. Like that's crazy, right? It happens more than you think, and that wasn't even a position of depth. This is a position with a ton of depth in this year's draft, and that's why I think he could fall. I think that you could probably get him late second if you're lucky. So Kool-Aid, and then obviously Keon or Leggett is pretty split. Maybe Keon, and then obviously Frazier. Late round steals, Drake Nugent, absolute dog. Would love to get him 6th, 7th round if he's there. He's a beast. Would love to have him as maybe our future center. Dwight McGlothern, very underrated guy who can develop very well. Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon, a 6'4" corner who's still developing and getting better. And then also Quantez Stiggers, another guy who I like. And another guy I forgot to mention was Troy Franklin. He's another guy I'd love to get 3rd round maybe, or even 2nd. Now, my take on the edge position before I let you guys go. My take on the edge position is that we actually have a lot of depth there. We have James Houston back. You have Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, Matthew Betts. You have guys there. I think you could get a late round guy if you wanted, but honestly, I think we're pretty okay at the edge spot. If you're not going to get one of the best guys in the draft, I don't see the need to draft one. Maybe another guy for depth. But I think that worst comes to worst. You see how your edge group goes this year being healthy. If you need to, you trade for a guy midseason. You can get a Max Crosby or just someone else that can be an edge too. Otherwise, I think you're okay there. I think you need to focus more on positions like cornerback, maybe another wide receiver, and then you need a safety or some O-line depth as well. That's going to be it for this video. Happy draft week. We're about a day away. Let me know what you guys think Brad Holmes will do and what you want him to do. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one. Peace.